On September 23, 2025, in the hallowed halls of the United Nations General Assembly, President Donald Trump met Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and what emerged was a seismic proclamation that shook the world. Gone was the dealmaker urging land swaps. In his place stood a champion, declaring on Truth Social that Ukraine, backed by NATO's might, can reclaim every inch of its stolen land. "I've studied the Russia-Ukraine crisis," Trump wrote, "and seen Moscow's economic collapse. Ukraine can win, restoring its pre-war borders. Why settle?" On February 24, 2022, Russia's invasion of Ukraine began with a roar of missiles and tanks. A blitzkrieg Putin called a special military operation to denazify a nation he refused to recognize. Kyiv's skies lit up with explosions, maternity wards in Mariupol crumbled, and Bucha's streets became graves for civilians. Hands bound, shot in cold blood. The UN estimates 10,500 civilian deaths by September 2025. But in occupied Donetsk and Luhansk, the toll is likely far higher, hidden in mass graves. A mother in Irpin, her home reduced to rubble, clutched her son's body, her screams a haunting echo of loss. In Kharkiv, a 9-year-old orphan clutching a tattered teddy bear whispered, "Why us?" To no one, Ukraine didn't break, it roared. Zelenskyy, the former comedian turned wartime titan, stood in Kiev's streets, defying evacuation. "I need ammunition, not a ride." Farmers towed Russian tanks with tractors. Baristas traded aprons for rifles. Grandmothers in Lviv wove camouflage nets, their arthritic hands threading defiance. Ukraine's Neptune missiles sank the Moskva, Russia's Black Sea Fleet flagship, on April 14, 2022, a $750 million blow. Bayraktar drones, Turkish-made and Ukrainian-mastered, turned 200 Russian vehicles into scrap by 2024, per Oryx data. In Donetsk's trenches, soldiers, brothers, fathers, dreamers, held lines against waves of conscripts, their courage a beacon in the fog of war. The cost is staggering. Ukraine's GDP has plummeted 42% since 2022, per the World Bank, with $150 billion in infrastructure damage. Over 8.2 million Ukrainians are displaced, per UNHCR, their homes now minefields or ash. Agriculture, once 20% of GDP, lies fallow, 30% of farmland is mined. Soldiers return in coffins, their dreams buried in flag-draped silence. Yet Ukraine's spirit burns, its resolve a flame unquenched by Putin's brutality. Trump took office in 2025, vowing to end the war through deal-making. He met Putin in Alaska in August, Zelenskyy in New York, pushing ceasefires and compromises. For months, he urged Ukraine to cede Crimea and Donetsk for peace, a bitter pill for a nation fighting for its soul. "Land swaps are the only way," he said in June, citing Russia's overwhelming manpower, 1.2 million troops to Ukraine's 500,000, and $2 trillion GDP. But Putin's promises were smoke. Every summit ended with drones over Kiev. "I have great talks with him," Trump fumed. "Then a bomb hits, and I'm furious." The UNGA meeting on September 23 changed everything. Zelenskyy, eyes heavy with 3 years of grief, shared Ukraine's resilience and Russia's collapse. Trump listened, his dealmaker's pragmatism giving way to righteous anger. His Truth Social post was a thunderbolt. Russia's economy is crumbling, its army flailing. Ukraine, with Europe and NATO, can win, reclaiming every inch. Pre-war borders are within reach. Why not? He didn't stop there, shredding Russia's myth. 3 years, and they're stuck in a war they thought they'd win in days. A paper tiger. Moscow's people queue for gas, their spirits broken. Ukraine's only stronger. With NATO's weapons, they can take it all back, and maybe more. That maybe more was a grenade. A hint Ukraine could push into Russian territory, a line Trump had never crossed. It was a middle finger to Putin, once a friend, now a deceiver who'd burned Trump's trust. At the UNGA, Trump doubled down, threatening 100% tariffs on Russia unless the war ends. Europe's buying Russian oil while fighting them? Embarrassing, he growled, demanding NATO halt purchases. He endorsed shooting down Russian planes in NATO airspace, a stark escalation. Ukraine's transformation is staggering. On paper, Russia's might was crushing. 4,000 tanks to Ukraine's 1,000, 12,000 artillery pieces to 2,000 per
following a
IISS
series
data.
of military maneuvers
Putin
by the
expected
United
Kyiv
States
to fall
in
in
recent
72
weeks.
hours.
The U.S.
Instead,
Navy's
Ukraine
battle group
rewrote
is steadily
warfare.
approaching
Its drone
Venezuelan
program,
waters,
blending
sending a
$500
clear signal
quadcopters
that
with AI-guided Javelin warheads, has destroyed 1,800 Russian
Washington
vehicles
is
since
prepared to
2023.
conduct large-scale
For
operations in the region, has
Stognev
sparked
missiles,
a military
homegrown and
escalation that cannot
laser-guided,
be overlooked.
Pierce T-90
The
armor
international
with
community
90%
is now
accuracy.
focused. In mid-August,
Donetsk,
the United
Russia's
States
assault
began
on
deploying
Pokrovsk
3
has
Arleigh
stalled. Kiev reclaimed 320 kilometers in 2025,
destroyers to the
5
Caribbean,
times Russia's gains
the USS
per
Gravely,
Ukraine's general staff.
anti-submarine warfare.
In Kursk,
The
a daring
deployment of these
Ukrainian
3 ships
incursion in
mission
August
to alter the
2025
maritime
seized
power balance
1,000
around
kodies of
Venezuela,
Russian soil.
as each
A
striking
psychological
target's
blow
load
to Putin's regime.
hundreds of kilometers
NATO
away.
support has been Ukraine's backbone. Since 2022, allies have pledged
The
$220
military
billion
message
per
is
Cypriot.
unmistakable.
U.S. M1
The United
Abrams,
States is
UK
prepared to
Storm Shadow
exert
missiles,
significant
German
force. A large
Leopard
amphibious
2s,
unit.
Polish
The helicopter
MiG-29s,
carrier,
French
USS
Caesar howitzers. HIMARS systems with 40-kilometer range have obliterated
Navy and Marine
200
Corps
Russian
personnel
command
currently in
posts.
the region.
Starlink's
The scale of
3,000
this
satellites
deployment
ensure
far
battlefield
surpasses a
connectivity.
routine patrol.
Training in Poland and the
Such
UK
equipment
has
is
turned
used for landing
50,000
operations,
Ukrainian recruits
forward
into
troop
NATO counter
deployment.
units. This isn't aid. It's a leveling of the scales,
Troop
making
deployments
Ukraine a
or
peer to Russia's
large-scale
faltering
evacuations.
giant.
The fact
Russia's
that these
unraveling
ships
is stark.
approached within
The
approximately
ruble trades at
550
125
kilometers
to the
Venezuelan
dollar,
coast
down
underscores the
65%
seriousness
since
of the
2022.
operation.
Sanctions, including SWIFT exclusion, have crippled trade. Exports
This
dropped
move
30%
was
by
not
2025.
merely a display of power.
Rostat.
In
the
early
National Wealth
September,
Fund,
the
once
U.S. Navy
$600
took
billion
combat
is at
speedboats suspected
$180
of being
billion
linked to the
drained
trendy
by
Arab cartel.
$170
Was
billion
targeted in
in
a
annual
precision
war
strike
costs. Gas lines in Moscow stretch 2 kilometers. Bread prices are up 120%,
in the Caribbean Sea,
milk
reportedly
150%.
killing
Inflation
all
hit
11
18% in
routes
August
originating
per
in
Russia's
Venezuela
central bank.
and spreading to
Even
various
the Kremlin's
U.S. warships
loyalists
was not
cracked.
solely a preventive
Economy
measure,
Minister
but
Maxim
also involved
Reshetnikov warned of recession in July, projecting a 2% GDP
the direct
contraction.
use of military
Desertions
force
plague
in
the army.
international waters.
230,000
The presence of
fled
U.S.
since
destroyers near
2023
Venezuela
Medusa.
prompted an
Russia
immediate
lost
Jason
1,200 tanks
which was
in
operating in
2024
international
for
waters.
Oryx.
Pentagon
With only
described
500
this
replacements
action as
built,
highly provocative.
Putin's blunders are legion. Logistics failed.
Highly
Tanks ran out of fuel in
potentially
Kiev's suburbs in
endangering the safety of the
2022.
ship's crew
Corruption
when U.S.
siphoned
warships
$40
faced
billion
aircraft
from
or vessels
military
from other
budgets.
nations.
Per Transparency
Venezuelan
International,
fighter jets
leaving
dared to fly
soldiers
over
with
U.S.
rusted
destroyers.
rifles.
Indicates
Ukraine's
that the
strikes,
situation
drones
has
hitting Rostov depots, 600 meters lost in September,
has reached
missiles
a critical
gutting
level
Crimea
of tension.
airfields
The U.S.
have
Department of
crippled
Defense
Russia's war
subsequently
effort.
not to interfere
Morale
with
is
ongoing
shattered.
maritime operations.
Conscripts, often
Washington
untrained,
maintains that
face
its warships
30%
have a
casualty
large fleet
rates in
complete with
Bakhmut.
destroyers
Per
and
BBC
amphibious
leaks.
assault ships
Putin's myth
is
of
under a
invincibility lies in
counter-narcotics
ruins.
mandate.
His empire,
However,
a
from a
house of cards. Zelensky's UNGA speech was a
operation.
moral thunderclap.
Many observers believe
he proposed
that
a
such
NATO-led air
deployments are a
defense
risk to
system
the
to counter
country.
Russia's
The
900
fact that
drone strikes
Venezuela
and
is at
25
U.S.
missile
patrol
attacks in
vessels have
September,
reportedly
which
shadowed
killed
waters
15
near
civilians
Venezuela's
and
exclusive
injured 80, per Ukraine's defense ministry. Shut their skies and
vessels
Putin must
in
negotiate.
response,
he urged.
despite their
He called out
capabilities lagging
China's
far
silence.
behind them, while it
Beijing's
faces
trade,
Aegis
$100 billion
class
in Russian oil since
destroyers equipped
2022
with some of the
props
world's
up
most
Putin.
advanced weapon systems.
He praised the U.S.
This
the
Caribbean
UK
Sea
and
now
France for
resembles
post-war
a
security
battlefield of
guarantees,
escalating
a line Russia cannot cross again. The UN,
to its
he warned,
sovereignty.
risks irrelevance.
However, from a purely
Its Security
military
Council
perspective,
paralyzed by Russia's veto.
the panic
His
described in
words
many
stirred
reports
souls,
is not
a
unfounded.
plea for
National
humanity
defense
to stand against tyranny. Trump echoed this,
of
threatening
combat, but also
150%
because
tariffs
of
on
the
Russia
risk of
and sanctions on
miscalculation
nations
on the ground.
buying
With
its
military
oil,
context,
like
this
India.
situation is
NATO's
significant.
commitment is weak, he
Over
said,
the past
noting
few
$30
decades,
billion
the
in
Caribbean Sea
European oil
has
purchases
frequently
since
been an arena
2022.
for U.S. Navy.
He backed shooting down Russian planes in NATO airspace.
U.S. Navy
The policy
operations.
shift Zelenskyy
However,
called
large-scale
a game changer
deployments
on
like
CNN.
high-level combat power
Trump sees
to
Putin's
address
lies, he
transnational
said.
crime.
We fight for our home, and he's with us. This war is a tapestry of human stories.
Military observers,
in Odessa,
this is a classic
Elena,
example of how naval
mourns her sailor
power, if these
husband,
operations
killed by
continue,
Russian
the
mine in
likelihood of a
2023.
confrontation with
She
Ministry
raises
of
their
Defense
daughter,
and
Sophia,
Sophia,
6,
are all
who
now
draws sunflowers
engaged
under
in a
candlelight,
single coordinated
dreaming of peace.
operation.
In Bakhmut, Mykola, a 19-year-old medic, saves lives under shell fire.
To date, the
His hand
situation in
steady
Caribbean
despite
waters
sleepless
remains
nights.
tense.
In Lviv,
U.S.
teacher
warship
Irina leads children in bomb shelters, singing Chervona Kalina to drown out sirens. In occupied Kherson, a resistance fighter, Oleksiy, smuggles intel to Kiev, risking torture. In Russia, a St. Petersburg mother, Anna, waits for her conscripted son. Drafted at 18, her letters unanswered as casualty lists grow. These are Ukraine's heroes, their courage alight in the dark. Refugees in Poland, 1.5 million strong, rebuild lives in cramped camps, their children learning Polish while longing for home. Volunteers in Dnipro deliver aid to front lines, dodging drones. In Kiev, artists paint murals on bombed buildings, defying destruction with color. Russia's people too suffer. Conscripts' families protest in Moscow, risking arrest. The war's toll is universal. Its pain, a shared wound. Trump's words are a lifeline, but victory is no guarantee. Ukraine's gains, Pokrovsk's stand, Kursk's incursion, are miracles of blood and steel. Russia, wounded, remains lethal. 1,000 drones launched in August per Ukraine's Air Force. Yet the tide turns. Ukraine's spirit, forged in sacrifice, burns fierce. NATO's $220 billion lifeline, Trump's tariffs, and Zelensky's resolve form a united front. Putin, isolated in his Kremlin cage, faces a reckoning. His war, his legacy, his empire in tatters. For Ukraine, Trump's cry is a promise. To Elena in Odessa, it's a vow her pain matters. To Mykola in Bakhmut, it's fuel for one more day. To Sofia in Lviv, it's a dream of sunflowers under open skies. To the world, it's a call to stand with the brave. Want to uncover the untold stories of Ukraine's fight and Russia's collapse? Subscribe now for exclusive reports, real-time updates, and voices from the front lines. Join our community to witness history's turning point. Don't miss out.